That's it. I'm throwing in the towel. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Skye and I typically write paranormal romance under the name St. Hegyes. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the fact that I'm quitting Milwordy. If you don't know what Milwordy is, it is a writing challenge where the goal is to write 1 million words in a year. And there were several people who were doing this challenge, myself included. I made an entire video talking about what it is and my way of attempting to do it. And I will have a link to that in the description as well as in the cards. So feel free to check that out if you are interested in learning more about it, or if that seems like a challenge you might want to do yourself. But suffice it to say that I am no longer doing it. And that is really hard to say. It really shouldn't come as a surprise that I'm not doing Milwordy anymore, because I've recently had to take a really good step back at my writing career and how I was doing things. And Milwordy is just not conducive with my new way of writing and trying to get things done. In fact, my new way of doing things is so much slower and I'm getting less work done, or not enough work to condone that kind of a writing challenge, if that makes sense. Now, the reason that's really hard to say is because if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know I love writing challenges. I am a huge fanatic of writing challenges. And that goes all the way back to my accepting dares. Once upon a time, I was someone that if you dared me to do something, I would do it as long as it wasn't illegal or it wasn't going to harm either myself or anyone else involved. Otherwise, it was free game. You want me to eat that? As long as it's not going to make me sick afterwards, I'll eat it. You want me to go do something? I'll do it. In fact, actually, funny story. That's actually how my husband and I first got together in high school. A mutual friend of ours dared me to ask him out. And yeah, I actually talk about that more in another video. If you're interested in hearing that full story, you can check that out in the description. He and I did a questionnaire. And that was one of the questions, is how we met. But I do a lot of writing challenges. I actually just recently did a 10K day and I made 10K. I've done 100K in September. I've done 12 books in 12 months. 7-day writing challenge, Milwordy. I'm currently doing a 90-day write war. I love writing challenges. Like, that's not a secret. But I have failed so many of those writing challenges. It took a really long time for me to successfully do a 10K day. And even to this day, there are still times where I attempt it and I do not make 10K. The 100K in September, did not succeed at it. It's 12 books in 12 months. That was when I first started noticing that if looking back now, the signs were there that my writing, that wasn't a good way for me to be writing and trying to get stuff done. The 7-day challenge, I created that after my husband made me a deal, and I completed it the first time, but I attempted it several other times afterwards and failed at it every single time. So while that first time it worked, the next several times it didn't. The 90-day challenge is going somewhat well, but if I were to actually look at it as a whole in my original rules, no, I'm failing at that as well. So it's really hard to fail at something so many times, different challenges so many times, and not feel bad about it. That's why this sucks, is because I'm looking back and it's just another challenge I have failed. However, I also realize it's not healthy for me. We live in a society now that tells us quitting is bad. You're a loser if you quit. Quitting is for losers. You will not succeed if you're always quitting. What they fail to mention a lot of times is that if something is harmful to your health, whether physically or mentally, emotionally, it doesn't matter what is detrimental about it. If it is detrimental and harmful to your health, quitting is fine. And that's what I needed to see. I needed to understand that Milwordy is a challenge where you write 1,000,000 words in a year. But I'm not doing okay trying to strive for those word counts. I did, at the beginning of this challenge, figure out exactly how many words I would need to write in order to complete the challenge. And at first, the daily word count wasn't that bad. It would have been doable. The problem was that as soon as I started missing days and I had to recalculate how many words I would have to write in order to catch up, that number got bigger. That daily word count got bigger. And the more days I missed, the bigger it got. And it was just a continuous cycle of missing days, having to make them up, missing days, having to make it up. And it got to the point where I would see that number and I wouldn't want to make it up. So then it would go another day and another day and another day. And the more often I went without writing, the bigger the word count got that I would have to write in order to catch up. And the more depressed I got. The more I would look at those word counts and see how much I would have to write on a daily basis in order to meet the final overall 1,000,000 words. And it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. And a lot of it stems from the fact that it was just yet another challenge I would have failed. And I am learning slowly that I have to be kinder to myself and that the challenges are meant to push my limits and they're meant to be fun. And if I'm not having fun, the challenge isn't worth doing. And if I wasn't like meeting the basic standards for said challenge before taking the challenge, it's not good either. This challenge would have been so much easier if I was writing 500,000 words a year already. And while I haven't been tracking my writing numbers as well as I should have for the past few years, and I've only recently started within the past couple of years of actually tracking them at all, I knew from the get-go I haven't even made a year when I wrote 500,000 words, which is why I told myself that I would be happy with just 500,000 words, even if I was striving for the full 1,000,000. But even so, it goes back to the fact that every time I got behind, that number that I would have to write in order to catch up was just exponentially bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where I saw those numbers and there were days where like I would have had to write 10,000 plus words a day, every day, Monday through Friday, just to get caught up. While I love doing 10K days, I had a lot of fun on this last 10K day. That's not something I want to do every day for a long time. It's not. And thinking about it hurts. It hurts. Like I'm physically hurting just talking about it. Like, oh my God, no, what a world. Like it's not a good thing. It's not healthy for your mentality or even for it's not good for you physically because you're sitting for long periods of time trying to write those words. And if you're like me, you have wrist problems or joint problems. Like I really have these joints. After a couple hours of writing, I have to do something else because I hurt. Same thing for my wrist. I hurt and exercising helps. But if you're sitting for long periods of time, every day, doesn't matter how many exercises or stretches you do, it still flipping hurts. It was not good for me to see those numbers on a daily basis and see them growing on a daily basis and knowing that I wasn't going to hit the numbers that I wanted to hit. So I was doing weekly updates on Instagram with the Milwordy challenge. And I did mention in April when we moved here that my updates were going to stop for a while for two reasons. A, because we were moving. The initial reason was because we were moving. And I think I was not focusing on Milwordy and writing the week before our move, the week of our move, and the week after our move. Basically packing, getting there, unpacking, getting here and unpacking. So there was like 3 weeks where I knew I would not be writing. But even when I came back to writing, a lot of things once we got here didn't work out in our favor. I haven't talked about it a lot, but I have talked about it a little bit here and there. There was a plan set out of how things were going to work when we got here. There was things we had planned prior to coming here that we would fall into place and would work once we got here. But once we got here, none of those things worked out the way they were supposed to. In fact, 90% of them did not work out the way they were supposed to. Life itself was already making me depressed, and writing, which had always been, yes, it's a job for me, but it's also been a way of escaping like real life stuff. I come to my fantasy worlds, I delve into them, and I'm like, oh, your problems are so much worse. And then I go back to my real life where it's not as bad. I like writing things to help people escape from real life because that's what I need it for. When it got to the point where looking at what I would need to write daily, even after just that 3-week period where I knew I was going to be gone, had planned for it, had calculated around it, and my word counts were not reflective of those 3 weeks, I still didn't want to write. I did, because real life was affecting my mentality at that time. Like, I would try to write and I might get a couple hundred words down here and there, and there were some days where I might get as many as 3,000 words a day, but then I would go several days before and after without writing anything at all. It was just a whole lot of suck, basically. I don't even know what my word count is supposed to be at right now for Milwordy. I have it written down, but I don't know what it's supposed to be. I will put it on the screen if I can. And I also know what my word count is right now, and it's nowhere near what it's supposed to be. But I'm so much happier with where my word count is. I am still tracking my words. I actually am not tracking them the way I was. I need to update my tracker. I really like my tracker. It is based off of RJ Blaine's tracker, which I have a video talking about it. But I've been tracking recently using the Hero's Journal instead of my tracker. And what I need to do is translate all of this into my tracker, because I do want to see an overall, like, what days I wrote versus what days I didn't kind of thing. I think that would be really cool to keep track of. And I want all that information in one place because I am someone who likes having everything in one place. So I do enjoy tracking my word counts, and I do enjoy seeing what I accomplish every year. But I can't accomplish 1 million words in a year. And I can't accomplish 500,000 words in a year right now. I think in the future, going forward, before I attempt these challenges, this is the second year I've tracked my word count the way I'm tracking it. And so I think what I want to do is compare the end of this year's word count to the end of last year's word count, and maybe set myself a goal to write 50,000 more words than this year's word count goal. Final word count? I don't know yet. I will figure that out closer to the end of the year. But what I do know is that I probably will not be tempting Milwordy again anytime soon. I don't know if I'll be tempting 500,000 words anytime soon. It just doesn't work for me at this time. Now, can that change? Possibly. Maybe even just a year from now, I'll be ready to tackle this challenge again. Maybe I will hit a point in my life where I am mentally, physically, emotionally able to handle trying to write 1 million words a year. But I knew at the beginning of this year that I was moving, and I knew things were going to be hard. And I knew myself back then, because I have hit this point already, that if I am trying to meet a word count and I see that I have got so much words to write in order to catch up, I already knew that was going to be a problem, which was part of the reason instead of aiming for 1 million words, I aimed for only 500,000. But I didn't realize exactly how much all of that was going to affect me, how much damage I was going to do to myself with trying to attempt this, all while in the same year as moving and trying to find new jobs and trying to find new schools. And at the time, I was thinking I was going to be homeschooling again this year, so I didn't even take that into account at all. If I had been doing homeschooling, I didn't take into account the time it would take me to homeschool. There was so much I didn't plan for, even with everything I planned for, that all I did in the end was hurt myself. And again, I feel really bad about quitting Milwordy, not because I can't do it. because I knew that going in that I probably couldn't do it, which is why I set it to 500,000 words. I hate it and feel guilty about it because it's just another failed challenge. And that's the part that sucks. As long as I remember that the challenges are meant to be fun and they're meant to push the boundaries you already know you have, it's a lot easier to handle, because I know for a fact that there's all these boundaries I have set for myself, especially with like this new challenge that I'm working on. Like, I know that I can accomplish that one just because of, I know how long it takes me to write stuff, and I know how long it takes me to edit. I know how long it takes me to format. I know how long it takes me to do everything. And that's why this challenge that I'm currently doing, the 90-day write war, is so much easier to handle than Milwordy. Whereas I didn't really have that basis of comparison before I began Milwordy, because I've only been tracking my word counts the past couple years. And again, I'll put like an image up here with my word count. I'll put it for like 2020. If I've got one for 2019, I'll include that as well, and my word count so far for 2021. And when I told myself I was going to write 1 million words this year, or even just 500,000 words this year, I didn't take those word counts into account. I was just like, hey, I'm going to write 500,000 words. I didn't think about the fact that I have yet to write 500,000 words in a year. And before 2019, I wasn't really tracking that well. And I'm pretty certain I wasn't tracking in 2019. I don't know why I keep pointing the screen like it's already there. I don't know what past me was really thinking, because I had no basis of comparison for previous years saying that I could even come close to accomplishing this. And that is what I'm getting at, is like, I didn't know my boundaries for this, which made this ultimately so much harder. And I think in coming years, with challenges like this, word count based challenges where I try to write and strive for so many words a year, I think what I need to do is take a look at past years and strive for like 60 to 70K more than the previous year. So if, for example, I end up writing 200,000 words this year, maybe next year strive for through 2,700 words. 270,000 words, sorry. I can't math. But something like this, strive for just a little bit more than the year previous. So I think in the future, that would be the best way to go. That is going to be still pushing those boundaries, still challenging myself, but not to the detriment of my own health. This was a really long way of saying that I'm quitting Milwordy and my reasons why. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit that thumbs up button. You can thumbs it down if you didn't like it. I promise I won't be mad. Yeah. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this, because like I said, I like writing challenges. In fact, I love writing challenges. If you know a good writing challenge that you think I would like, send it my way. I'm here for it. But I need to take into account when I actually accept said writing challenge, whether or not it's something I think I really can accomplish. I'm getting better about it, guys. I'm getting better. I'm slowly getting there. But anyway, let me know down in the comments below if you were doing Milwordy, if you are still doing Milwordy, if you were doing it, or if you quit. And let me know your reasons why. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, Dragonlings. That's it. That didn't land the way I wanted to.